Hello. I've decided to start reading The Mandate for Leadership. I am a Gen Xer who didn't do anything because I got um, convinced that life was going to be okay if I didn't pay attention. I didn't vote for anybody until Clinton. Um, I voted after that, but didn't give a damn until I saw a cute saxophone playing degenerate on a show that wasn't going to last long because it was probably something about DEI. So I've heard today that plane wouldn't have crashed into the DEI helicopter because it was DEI. So everybody brown and every shade of brown and a woman, 'cause forgot woke movement, and a woman, we're all responsible for this. So I'm sure my friend who is a retired pilot and she's black would be really interested in that. Um, Having to come to the realization that we're not going to have a woman in my generation or in my lifetime probably was something hard to do. I was very much a Kamala supporter because she came from Oakland. I come from Oakland. That's what the background's about at the moment. Otherwise, the background's really fluffy. So watching everything go down and watching the president um, do what he's doing and listening to something this morning because I am more or less a liberal political junkie, was the talk about how this is the American version of a blitzkrieg, making us so desensitized that we won't mind when weird things start happening. And I was buying it. I was actually becoming desensitized like everybody else. Didn't even think twice about it. And it stopped me in my tracks and made me go, okay, I need to start caring. I need to stop it. I need to start having emotions again because I would try to keep myself from being mad. Nope. Gotta be mad. Gotta be frustrated. Gotta make everybody in the household watch. Gotta watch myself because the ones who are hiding, and I've told my friends, it's like, you don't have to watch YouTube. You don't have to watch anything. Read. Read the newsletters. Read the centrist to left-leaning newspaper or newsletters, because that's the closest you're going to get. Don't even bother trying the other side. The other side is creepy. The other side is very white-centric. It's very keep them stupid. It's very what they don't know won't hurt them until it's too late. So that's why I'm doing this, because it's time for my generation, Gen Xers, the whole gambit, even the ones who are sort of in the boomers, even the ones that are sort of in the millennials. You'll need to come to one spot and start talking about things that we missed, we didn't pay attention to. We were too busy buying handbags, things like that. I'm in a position where I don't have to worry about this, um, which is twisted in its own way. Um, but it's just a background, I guess, today. I might read a page or two because I'm going to read it from the very, very front. So it's going to have all of the stuff on there. I've downloaded it. I found it someplace where it wasn't going to mark me for doing that because I also use the advice from EFF, which is Electronic Frontier Foundation, EFF.org. They teach you how to be internet autonomous, basically, security, things like that. I've always been in security, been on the quote unquote internet since Usernet when it was in college. I've never been in college. I've never graduated from high school. So you want to pick on the uneducated, that's me. So, but since I live in tech world, I have 2 generations of tech freaks in my family. So I knew more about the tech sector before I could even like pick a one boyfriend. So that's just the way it went. So I'm now jumping back into the real world, quote unquote, this version of the real world. Ooh, look, sorry. Um, because it needs to be done. Our generation needs to open our mouth and do something, or at least try to do something, or at least send that one letter to our congressman. Or see, I'm in a perfect position here. That's my problem. I'm in California, and I'm in Northern California. I've got Swalwell. I've got people that fight for me, and sometimes I think it's cheating. I do. Sometimes I think it's cheating. I grew up in Oakland in the 70s and 80s. I grew up with the reading rainbow. I grew up with the rainbow. I grew up with everybody is who they are. I grew up with just everything. I didn't know the difference. The first time I even saw a difference was when the AIDS crisis happened. And that's when I found out that my world was a bubble. And I still carry a lot of that bubble now. And I'm a lot older than that because I don't think like the people who are scared. I haven't had a reason to be scared. I've never been scared until now because I'm also native. My big question is if you get rid of the tribal lands, which supposedly have a lot of uranium, and that's why they want it, and natives don't, dig into their own land. That's, you know, the native version of sacrilege. Where do you put us? Is that what one of an internment camp is supposed to be? Because if we're kicked off the land and then we're still not citizens, WTF? My father was born on a reservation. His mother died during childbirth. She was the native. I have absolutely none paperwork on my father. So he has passed away, hopefully in Pasadena, because he's hard to chase down because he didn't have a middle name either. He was adopted by a Mexican family, so half my family is Mexican. So I relate to on that end. My stepfather is white. My mother was mostly European Spanish, and they can be big snobs. So I have I have cousins that are mixed race. I have cousins that have platinum blonde hair. I literally run the gamut from one side to the other when it comes up to America. Um, I had a gay cousin. He unfortunately passed away from cancer and not AIDS, thank God. I know it sounds weird, but um, I'm bisexual. My parents don't care or didn't care. My mother's passed. Um, and that's the thing. There aren't gay men snatching boys off the street. That's usually held for straight men who don't want to be gay. Um, Lesbians are definitely not coming by on their bikes and picking up teenage girls. One of the safest places I ever spent when I was a teenager was hanging around a coffee shop in San Francisco with lesbians playing pinball because they protected me because I was the cute little 13-year-old who didn't have a problem. I've been exposed to hippies. I've been exposed to Black Panthers. At one time, between ages 1 and 10, I had a Black Panther house up the street, which means for children and adults, or children and parents, children and moms. And the other side was a motorcycle gang who protected us all because we were kids. And supposedly, my watch just went off. Supposedly, there was a tiger around the block. My mother saw him walk by once and said, "There's the tiger." So, yes, I lived the East Oakland 70s dream, basically, and got to see all of that destroyed by, you want to talk about conspiracies. The CIA is supposedly what brought down the Black Panthers. All of the Ivy League leaders of the Black Panthers. Um, I saw Huey Newton go into oblivion, which was really disheartening. Even at the age of like 12, that was disheartening. Um, I never got to see the tiger. That sucked. But also being inner city, I belonged to 4-H because they were funneling a lot of money into um, inner cities because they wanted the inner city children to learn how to get out of their own surroundings. Sort of like what immigrants do to their children. Immigrants come here, they work their butts off, they send their children to college. Now, I don't understand why that's such a bad thing. Um, do people not like immigrants because they do better than them? Put your nose to the grindstone. Come from poverty and work your butt off. That's what these people do. And then the kids go to college. Go figure. Become doctors, become scientists. Not all of them do. Some become accountants and writers and artists. It's just like everybody else is. Isn't that weird that we all actually do think the same underneath the skin color? Well, those who accept everybody think the same underneath the skin color. Um, it's just, is it all jealousy? Is it all anger that they're getting somewhere we aren't? Well, you know what? If they're getting somewhere we aren't, do better. Uh, the welfare queens in the 80s. Oh God, that was hilarious to find out that was a joke. Because Lord knows, everybody's parents who believed it, boy, did they tell us about it, because I had to live through the Reagan administration, which was very interesting because there were a lot of people that were Reaganites, and that went everywhere. I sort of moved out of the inner city, uh, or deep East Oakland to East Oakland when I was 10, 9. And all of their parents, there was definitely split going on around there. But you know what? Nobody cared because they were all watching out the kids. There were things that were more important to them because it was something that was in their world, in their everyday world. And that was more important than politics because you wanted to make sure that the kids knew better than to go, bicycling in the middle of the street when it was time for people to get off of work. Children are smart. It's amazing. I come from the latchkey kid generation, but once our parents were home, they paid a lot of attention to us. We fed other people fed us. We ran like a mob from house to house sometimes. Somebody's parents would always watch us. We were taken care of in a very interesting way, but still were able to mess up. And I don't know how that translated to us just ignoring everything and wanting to be like Wall Street or Lesson Zero. But it did. It it made us very, very, I don't know, unhooked. Um, oh, it's hard to explain. Very, you can do that. I'm gonna get in my car and go to a movie. I'm gonna go to a club. Oh, the world's falling apart, or the world's not falling apart. That's nice. Cool. I'm busy. Um, but we all really did that during the Reagan years because we knew that absolutely nothing we could do could change it, we thought. But Reagan was also a fair president for the time. Um, I did do one thing I feel bad about. When Reagan was shot in 1981, was it 81, I think? Um, I was in my math class and it came over the intercom that he had been shot. Everybody in my class cheered. My math teacher was older. She was mad. She kicked us out. We got to go home anyway. But that's the only thing I felt bad about. The Reagan administration was doing that. Um, During the Orange Balloons term in office last time, they're just It was like beating your head against a wall, and then we had Biden, and that was cool and nice and quiet, which is what a president is supposed to be, quiet and keeping us on an even keel or keeping us going in a positive direction. That's why you didn't hear about him. That's why you didn't hear about the secretaries of this or the secretary of that. It's because they were busy. Um, and in my opinion, this is all of my opinion. This is just me being an opinionated middle-aged lady. If you ask me, I'm older than middle age, but or brat. No, my generation has not grown up. It's no big deal. You can still get us into doing things that normally people our age wouldn't do. The last generation. This generation's like tally ho, let's go. So it is still just mind-blowing that we have a 79-year-old president doing a second term. How in the hell did that happen? Charisma is one thing, but this is ridiculous. And the people who voted for him, my people voted for him. That's the thing, brown people. Because they thought it wasn't going to be us, it was going to be the illegals. They also hadn't thought that, the illegals are what runs the produce industry. So we have, crops dying in California. California has a lot of things, like artichokes, it's what we're known for. Garlic is what we're known for. Olives, broccoli. I'm trying to remember what I could see going down the coast, and what they sold at the little stands. So, broccoli, cauliflower, things like that. We have the pumpkin festival, so obviously we grow pumpkins here. But they've been taking those days off now. They're afraid to go into the field because they're afraid they're going to get raided by ICE. It's probably less here because it's California. I live in the frickin' liberal utopia, and it's cheating. And that's also why I'm doing this, because I feel like I want to help everybody else in my country, because I have the future presidents as my governor. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. And that's also what this is. This is my opinion, and this is the opinion of people who are on here also that I have as panels. So it's not going to be some major, I'm going to fight with everybody political channel. No, I'm taking it literally from, I'm a little goth girl, so the weirdo's point of view in California. I'm sure people will love being able to pick on me. I also have the mods that aren't going to let it happen. So that's called the real world in the internet. Because there are a myriad of different worlds nowadays. There's my internet world. There's the other side's internet world. That's their real life, which is rather embarrassing, because doing the smack and tickle, doing the salute is really creepy. And having their children do it. I saw that one tonight. Oof, that's just disgusting and sick. It's like, what is your kid going to think? All it makes me think of is what American History X. Is it really like that? Might be. Usually people write about what they know. So maybe it's really like that. I've never come across anybody who's done that in front of me. But like I said, maybe I'm lucky. So it's just, I am amazed by how we have fallen apart, and how certain politicians have disappeared. Some three-letter acronym. I haven't seen her lately. Ever since the orange balloon started blaming black people, brown people, my people, for things that are happening bad around here, and his own very pale people going on that weird ass entertainment channel talking about a three-letter acronym for why this happened. It's bizarre. It's just really weird. All of the progress, even if it was pseudo, it was enough to keep everybody quiet. all the progress that was done, it's strange. And I heard today that he announced that the Secretary of was it aviation? I can't remember right now. Is an ex-member of the MTV show. Um, what's the name of that show? I wanted to say The Young Ones. That would be funny. Um, no, this really big show. He's plucking people from TV. What makes them qualified? And I was watching Kash Patel and Kennedy, um, and Kennedy's taking stuff back, and his cousin ripped him a new one, which was nice. And Kash had it going. He was just like, that was taken from an excerpt of my conversation. I was like, nice. Except that my side had the quotes and had them put in a record. Dude, it's going to be in a record. You can say everything you want. You almost, when they read you the first time, because I saw part of it, I saw the beginning, when they were talking about what you did, you almost sounded like you could have been in there. But then you blew it because you had a whole of your conspiracy crap and we're going to smash, you know, uh, this and that and the other. How do you think a country runs? Um, it doesn't run on quote unquote handouts. It runs on things to help the country run. What do you think the government, why do you think we pay taxes? It's so the roads can get fixed and the people, there are air traffic controllers in the towers and there are people making sure we don't get bird flu from, food. I don't understand how that's overspending. And making sure we get an education. I know why that one's being cut because we're all supposed to be stupid. Um, I bet you $1 million that private, uh, they're like test places now where you can learn how to take a test. That's started in America. It's been something that's been very popular in Japan for a long time. But I wouldn't be surprised if kids are going to have to like take another class after class, fill out what they didn't learn today. Um, and it's starting to, we don't have Walter Cronkite anymore. You know how weird that is? We don't have a Walter Cronkite. Everybody believed him. When he first started doing the news, he was like 45. Can you believe that? He looked ancient. He's never aged in a weird way. But yeah, we don't have anybody that we believe or rely on anymore. So we are not a cohesive country anymore. We haven't been a cohesive country for a while. And it's something we should try to do. I don't really want to fight with the other side per se, but I want them to listen, even on the sly. That's why I'm doing this. It's not going to be anything, fancy. It's not going to be anything that's, if I get a lot of subscribers, I don't care. You know, it'll be like, that's great. But I am here to do it from a point of view of a tree-hugging liberal that lives in California from the tech industry. And I don't work, so you can't stick anybody on me. But I will not be giving single-handed salutes. I will not be talking about backwards stars. And I still live in the world that if you say 4H, your argument is done. So I won't be mentioning him either. But I am going to read the Mandate for Leadership. So a conservative promise, Project 2025. I'm looking at it right now. Presidential Transition Project. I'm leaving that part out because I got it through, Freedom of Information from somewhere else. So you guys don't need to know what the ISBN number is. Let's see. There's a foreword by Kevin D. Roberts, PhD, edited by Paul Dans and Steve Groves. Have you guys ever heard of any of these people? Is it all just the Heritage Foundation type people? Where is the guy who ran the Heritage Foundation? The blonde one who always sort of slightly smiled everywhere and looked really uncomfortable. I haven't seen him around in a while. Did something happen? It's a good question, honestly. I'm just wondering. I have checked I didn't turn off my phone. That means I'm going to phone heck. So let's see how long I've been on. Half an hour. I think I'm going to do half an hour because I wanted to explain myself first before I started doing anything else. That, and I wanted this to stay on here just in case somebody tries to ding me for something. I mean, I can do synopsises after this if I have to. So it's just an introduction. One of my mods suggested I should do an introduction. So I'm doing an introduction. Don't know how many times I'll be up here now that I've gotten used to it, because the first time's always the hardest. I might be a little bit more frequent with it. And I'll also start taking notes because all these things that are going through my head of all the stuff that happened today, oh my God. And I did read the press release last night, which was like a card's worth. And the one thing I did do was stare at the television and tell Papa Cat he didn't write that. And he didn't. Watching the word salad today was just so bizarre. I'm just like trying to get dressed and I keep looking outside of the bathroom going, did he really say that? That's what I mean. Normal people, or normal people for the 20s. There are a lot of different people nowadays, and if I'm lucky, I don't have to hide anybody in my house because they are now being persecuted. It's California, so this probably will be a sanctuary state in the weirdest way. Um, so this is just a hello. I'm here. I love my graffiti background. It'll be something else. The original background is way too fluffy for here right now. So I will be talking to you guys tomorrow. Thank you for trying to pay attention, listening to bits and pieces, yelling at the TV screen, anything. Even if it's the other side, yelling at the TV screen, at least we're going to get these emotions going because we need to stay emotional, okay? So I will talk to you all in a couple of days, if not tomorrow. Who knows? So I'll catch you on the flip side. Goodbye.